All right, so we dug into protein. Now we're going to get into dietary fat. Dietary fat is a bit more calorie dense than protein and carbohydrates. It's going to be 9 calories per gram, where protein was 4 calories per gram, and carbs are going to be 4 calories per gram. So it's a little bit more calorie dense. Okay, so there's going to be saturated, unsaturated, and trans fats. And what we want to lean towards is going to be unsaturated fats most of the time. So unsaturated fats are going to be basically liquid at room temperature. Saturated fats are going to be in meats and in like cheeses and stuff. This is okay. We want this in moderation. And trans fats are artificially made, and these are things that we just want to avoid. So basically, we want to cut trans fats completely out of the diet, eat mainly or primarily unsaturated fats, and include some saturated fats. So in the protein lecture, we talked about going over or utilizing lean protein sources. This is to allow more calories from your diet to come from these unsaturated fat sources and less so from the saturated. So, just like protein, there are essential fatty acids. So, these are basically, these cannot be made in the body, right? So, that needs to come from your food. There's only two truly essential fatty acids, and that's going to be linoleic acid, and alpha linoleic acid. Okay, so that's your omega 3s and omega 6s. So, we cannot create these, so it has to come from our food. Now, there's other fats like EPA and DHA, which can be converted from the ALA, but conversion is pretty inefficient, so it's really a good idea to supplement from a fish oil with EPA and DHA in it. And we can kind of get to that in a minute. But that is kind of the purpose behind supplementing with the fish oil, is because you're trying to get that ALA and EPA and DHA. And not have to convert it from ALA. So, fats and hormones are essential for hormonal health. Okay, so cholesterol and saturated fats are substrates for creating the hormones, so it's like building blocks for those hormones. However, cholesterol and saturated fat we can synthesize ourselves as long as you have enough food in the diet. And unsaturated fats. So still we want to lean into the unsaturated fats, even though hormones are synthesized from the saturated fats and cholesterol. But we can create our own cholesterol and our own saturated fat very efficiently, so we don't necessarily need to get that from the diet. So if we go extremely low calorie or if we go extremely low fat, that can lead to hormone suppression. So we need to have some kind of baseline of fat in the diet, making sure that you're getting the essential fatty acids that you need. It's also incredibly important for absorbing vitamins. Okay, so vitamins A, D, E, and K. These are going to be your fat-soluble vitamins. When you consume, say, like a vitamin D supplement, if you're not pairing that with a fat, it has a decreased absorption rate. So you actually get less of the nutrients in the food if the less of these vitamins A, D, and E, and K if you don't have fat in your diet paired with that particular meal. So it's important to have some kind of baseline of fat so you can get these vitamins A, D, E, and K. Okay, we want to use unsaturated fat sources like avocados, nuts, fatty fish, olive oil, avocado oil, nut butter, things like that. Okay, those are going to provide essential fatty acids, and they're also going to provide some micronutrients and allow you to absorb the micronutrients from your other foods. These are, a positive thing for health. Now, our less optimal is going to be like our fried foods and processed snacks and anything with trans fat in it. Just check the nutrition label, you'll see. We want to avoid the trans fats and use the unsaturated fats. If so, all fat is going to be the same, right? So 9 calories per gram energy wise. But we can get a lot more out of an unsaturated fat than we can a trans fat or a saturated fat when it comes to a health perspective and performance. and controlling inflammation, things like that. So our fat intake is typically going to stay fairly similar between phases, whether you're trying to grow muscle or lose body fat. It's going to be somewhere around 20 to 35% of your daily calories. Women tend to do a little bit better with just a little bit more fat in their diet. Men can get a little bit more aggressive towards that 20%. And somewhere around zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.5 grams of fat per pound of body weight is often optimal. Again, this is going to be very individual. So you'll just want to make sure that you're getting enough of these essential fatty acids. And it stays to be somewhere between 20 and 35% of your diet. So fat will slow digestion. So if you're getting too much of it, you're going to get pretty bogged down digestion-wise. And then if you don't have enough fat, you can have some of these negative side effects like hormone suppression, stuff like that. So we don't want to go super low. So like I just mentioned, fat does slow digestion. So how would we want to pair this with our day? So protein, we said we want to have nice and split up evenly across the day because we can't store aminos for later. Now we can store fatty acids to call upon later. Okay, so this means that we don't need to have fats in every meal across the day. We want to have our fats on the opposite side of training. So if you're going to train in the morning, you'll have most of your carbs in the afternoon. If you're going to train in the afternoon, you'll have most of your fats in the morning. You just want to keep it opposite. That way digestion is moving right around the time that you're training. You're not having any digestive issues during training. Okay, so all in all, fats are essential for health and hormones. We want to use quality sources. We want to lean away from trans fats and use things that have omega-3s in it. Somewhere between 20 and 35% of your diet. And we'll use lean protein sources to avoid, or not necessarily avoid, but to manage our saturated fat intake, allowing room for our unsaturated fat.